The Joy Luck Club is a novel that explores the complex relationships between mothers and daughters through the stories of four Chinese immigrant women and their American-born daughters. The book highlights the struggles these women face in navigating the cultural differences between their Chinese heritage and American identities. The novel opens with the story of Jing Mei June Wu, a successful American businesswoman who is asked to replace her mother at the Joy Luck Club, a social group of Chinese immigrant women. June initially feels disconnected from her Chinese heritage and struggles to connect with her mother's past. However, as the novel progresses, June begins to recognize the importance of her cultural identity and the impact it has had on her life. Another character, Lindo Zhang, grapples with her Chinese and American identities throughout the novel. Lindo is forced into an arranged marriage at a young age and moves to America with her husband. She struggles to balance her traditional Chinese values with the individualism and independence of American culture. Lindo eventually embraces her Chinese identity and realizes that her cultural heritage is a source of strength and connection with her daughter. The chapter, The Symbolism of Mahjong, in the Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan explores the game of Mahjong as a metaphor for life, communication, and the relationships between mothers and daughters. The four women, who meet regularly to play Mahjong, use the game as a way to tell their stories and to understand each other's experiences. The tiles in Mahjong represent different aspects of life, and the game serves as a reminder that life is full of unpredictability and change. The characters in the novel often use images from the game to describe their own experiences and emotions, such as when Lindo Zhang compares the tiles to her marriage and explains that she had to learn how to play her own game, in order to be happy. The chapter also explores the themes of language and communication. Because the women come from different cultural backgrounds and speak different languages, they struggle to communicate effectively. The game of Mahjong becomes a way for them to bridge these gaps and to communicate their experiences across linguistic and cultural barriers. Finally, the game serves as a way to explore the relationships between mothers and daughters. The women often use the game to tell stories about their mothers, and the tiles serve as reminders of the lessons and values that they have inherited from their parents. The game also symbolizes the ways in which mothers and daughters are connected, as the relationship between the two generations of women is like a game of winds blowing endlessly over the earth. Food plays a significant role in the Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. It is not just a source of sustenance but is used as a cultural and emotional bridge between mothers and daughters, as well as a symbol of nostalgia, family traditions, and identity. Throughout the novel, food serves as a medium for communication and bonding, particularly between the mothers who grew up in China and their American-born daughters who struggle to understand their heritage. For instance, the Chinese-style dinners held by the Joy Luck Club serve as a way for the mothers to share their life stories, cultural traditions, and beliefs, while also reminiscing about the past. Food is also used as a means of negotiating power, particularly in the dynamic between mothers and daughters. The mothers in the novel often use food to exert control over their daughters' lives, sometimes by withholding food or making certain dishes only for special occasions. This reflects the Chinese cultural norms which value obedience and sacrifice and serve as a reminder that the daughters are still beholden to their parents. Additionally, food plays a major role in the development of the characters in the novel. For instance, Lindo Zhang's famous dumpling-making talent serves not only as a bragging right but symbolizes her cunning intelligence and ability to manipulate, while the seafood that Mei Shu prepares for her daughter Rose reflects the latter's changing family circumstances and relationships. The cinematic adaptation of The Joy Luck Club received critical acclaim and was considered groundbreaking for its portrayal of Asian American women and their experiences. The film follows the same structure as the book, with each of the 8 main characters having their own storyline. The film also uses flashback sequences to show the experiences of the mothers in China before they immigrated to America. The film was praised for its ensemble cast, which included actresses such as Ming Na Wen, Tamlin Tomita, Rosalind Chow, and Kiyu Chin. The performances of the actresses playing the four mothers were particularly lauded, as they brought depth and nuance to their characters. The film was also praised for its visual style and cinematography. The use of flashbacks and dream sequences added to the overall emotional impact of the film. The score, composed by Rachel Portman, was also well received and added to the film's emotional resonance. Throughout the novel, the four mothers and their daughters share stories about their lives and experiences. For the mothers, storytelling is a way to pass on their cultural heritage and values to their American-born daughters. They tell stories about their own childhoods in China, their marriages, and their struggles as immigrants in a new country. By sharing these stories, they hope to help their daughters understand and appreciate their cultural heritage. For the daughters, storytelling is a way to connect with their mothers and understand their own identities. They listen to their mothers' stories and begin to see them as individuals with their own hopes and dreams, rather than just as strict, overbearing parents. Through their own stories, the daughters also begin to explore their own identities and find a sense of belonging. One of the most poignant examples of the power of storytelling in the novel is the story of the swan feather. In this story, the mother tells her daughter about a swan that sacrificed herself to save her children, and how her own mother did the same for her. This story becomes a metaphor for the sacrifices that the mothers have made for their daughters and helps the daughters understand and appreciate their mother's struggles and sacrifices. Throughout the novel, the characters are shaped by the historical events that they experience, both directly and indirectly. One of the most significant historical events that shape the characters in the novel is the Chinese Civil War and the subsequent communist takeover of China. Many of the mothers in the novel grew up in China during this time and experienced firsthand the upheaval and violence of the war. They were forced to flee their homes, leave behind their families, and start new lives in America. This trauma is passed down to their daughters, who struggle to understand their mother's experiences and the ways in which they have been shaped by them. Another significant historical event that shapes the characters in the novel is World War II and the Japanese occupation of China. The mothers in the novel recall their experiences of living under Japanese occupation and the atrocities that they witnessed. This trauma also affects their relationships with their daughters, as they struggle to reconcile their own experiences of war with their daughters' more privileged lives in America. The novel also explores the impact of more recent historical events, such as the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement. The daughters in the novel come of age during these turbulent times and are influenced by the social and political changes that are happening around them. They are also shaped by their relationships with their mothers and the stories that they share about their own experiences of immigration and assimilation. The novel examines the complex ways in which femininity is constructed and how it is influenced by culture, tradition, and family relationships. One of the main themes in the novel is the tension between traditional Chinese femininity and American femininity. The mothers in the novel grew up in a patriarchal society in China and were expected to conform to strict gender roles and expectations. They were taught to be submissive, obedient, and self-sacrificing, and to place their family's needs above their own. However, when they immigrated to America, they were exposed to a new culture that had different ideas about femininity and gender roles. They struggled to reconcile their traditional values with their new surroundings, and their daughters often pushed back against their expectations. The novel also explores the different ways in which mothers and daughters experience femininity. For mothers, femininity is often associated with motherhood and the sacrifices they have made for their families. They view their daughters' Americanized ideas about femininity as shallow and superficial. However, for the daughters, femininity is often associated with independence and self-expression. They view their mother's traditional values as oppressive and limiting. Throughout the novel, the characters learn to navigate their complex identities as women and to understand and appreciate each other's perspectives. They learn that femininity is not a fixed concept but is shaped by cultural and personal experiences. They also learn that femininity can be a source of strength and resilience, as well as a source of conflict and misunderstanding. One of the key ideas in the novel is the idea of motherhood as a source of strength and resilience. The mothers in the novel are portrayed as strong and resilient figures who have survived war, poverty, and displacement. They have made sacrifices for their families and are determined to ensure that their daughters have a better life than they did. Despite the challenges they face, they maintain a sense of pride and dignity that inspires their daughters. At the same time, the novel also explores the challenges and limitations of motherhood. The mothers in the novel often struggle to communicate with their daughters and understand their experiences as American-born Chinese. They are bound by cultural and generational differences that make it difficult for them to bridge the gap between their worldviews and those of their daughters. The daughters, on the other hand, often feel misunderstood and unappreciated by their mothers and struggle to reconcile their own desires and ambitions with their mother's expectations. Throughout the novel, the characters learn to navigate these complex relationships and appreciate the importance of motherhood in their lives. They learn to value the sacrifices that their mothers have made for them and to understand the cultural and generational differences that shape their perspectives. They also learn to appreciate the unique strengths and resilience that come from their experiences as Chinese American women. One of the main reasons for the novel's enduring legacy is its universal themes. Although the novel is set in the Chinese American community, its themes of family, identity, and the search for meaning and connection resonate with readers of all backgrounds. The novel speaks to the universal human experiences of love, loss, and the search for belonging, and its themes continue to be relevant to readers today. Another reason for the novel's enduring legacy is its influence on literature and popular culture. The Joy Luck Club was a groundbreaking work when it was first published, as it was one of the first novels by an Asian American writer to achieve mainstream success. The novel has since inspired a generation of writers and artists to explore the experiences of Asian Americans and other underrepresented communities. The novel has also been adapted into a critically acclaimed film, which has helped to bring the story and its themes to a wider audience. The film, like the novel, has been praised for its powerful exploration of the Chinese American experience and its moving portrayal of the complex relationships between mothers and daughters. Ultimately, The Joy Luck Club is a beautiful and poignant tale that explores the complexities and nuances of mother-daughter relationships. It is a testament to the enduring bonds of family, heritage, and tradition and the importance of empathy, understanding, and communication in bridging the gap between different generations and cultures.